Dad has made some excellent progress today.
Your dad, he's a fun guy, right?
And I love him so much, and I think he's the greatest dad in the world.
Welcome back to Working on the Dad Pod. I'm Alex. With me as always, or at least most of the time, my co-host Ethan was out last week, not feeling too well. Glad you're back. Glad you're feeling a little bit better. This week, we are recapping Halloween. We were going to have an episode last week before Ethan called in sick, talking about Halloween, what we were going to do, but now I think it's a great time to share what we did do. I made a little mental list of some of the things that went really right. Few things that maybe could have improved, but overall, it was a great holiday for me. How about for you guys?
I'd say mostly the same. I think that's fair. Yeah, obviously a little bit of hiccups, but for the most part, pretty good. So yeah.
Awesome. Before we get into that, though, we'll do story time. After that, we will work on the dad bod a little bit. I know you have a body composition report that you want to share.
I do.
So excited to hear the latest updates there. But we can kick it out with story time. And so for me, it's been a crazy couple of weeks. Obviously, we had Halloween in there, and we'll get into all the details of Halloween specific. But we basically over the last 2 weekends have had some pretty full weekends. And I have not. Tomorrow will be the first Friday of the last 4 weeks that I've actually worked. So first Friday, I had a doctor's appointment that was about an hour and a half away, and I took the day just to get down there, all that stuff. I have the time. I work in one of those environments where if you have more than 40 hours on December 31st, you lose everything but the 40 hours of PTO. So I had some like use it or lose it time anyway. So I took it there. Then on the 24th, I had a wedding. It was a Friday wedding at 2 p.m, right? And I'm not here to judge or anything like that. And again, I had the time to take off. So no biggie, but it took off for the wedding. And luckily it was a wedding that was only 45 minutes away from the house. So it wasn't like, didn't have to get a hotel, slept in my own bed the night before and the night of kind of thing. And I only had a couple of drinks over 6-7 hours. So I was totally fine to drive home. My wife had a conversation with me on Saturday morning that she also had with me on Friday night, though, because she was not driving.
Sure.
And then, of course, we had Halloween weekend, but mixed in there, we had my daughter had 2 birthday parties. One birthday party for friends. You know this. We had a K-pop Demon Hunters themed setup. I bought a projector and a projector screen. We showed the movie for a few of her friends. She's got long hair down to her waist, and so she was able to my wife got some purple weave and weaved it in there to give her roomy hair. Just had demon pattern tattoos, the whole works. We had Saja Boy's soda pop labels. It was a lot of fun. And then this past weekend, so post Halloween, we had the family get together. My dad was in town, and we did lunch and cake, and then we all went mini golfing, which was a lot of fun as well. So it's been kind of a whirlwind few weeks, and tomorrow I finally get to feel what a 5-day work week looks like.
There you go.
With last Friday, my son had a Halloween parade at school at 9:45, and our school district always, when Halloween is on a school day, they always make that an early release day. So my daughter was getting out at noon, right? And I'm like, I guess I appreciate it, get the kids the ability to get home, get ready, get dressed up, and get out before sunset. Fine, I don't mind it. But between a noon pickup and a 9:45 to 10:45 commitment, I was like, I'm not going to get any work done anyway. And then my dad was rolling into town at 12:45. I was like, I should just take the whole day. So
yeah, definitely.
Yeah. How about you? How are things been going for you?
Things are going. I will talk a little bit about. I'll save the body composition for working on the dad bod, but I want to talk about why I was out last week. So on last Sunday, I woke up. That's the wrong word. I could barely sleep because I kept waking up maybe every half hour to blow my nose and pee. So by the time I actually made it to the morning, I was not feeling good at all. And
Old man action.
yeah,
Waking up every 30 minutes to pee.
so I basically was like out of commission for both my older daughter's Hebrew school and my younger daughter's 3 o'clock or 3 a.m. 3-year-old at 10 a.m. soccer practice. So my wife had the whole
So
morning
you
to
still
herself.
haven't caught up on the missed sleep.
No. So if you all remember, I am the coach of my older daughter's soccer team, and that's at 3:30 p.m. So I basically knew I had like all day. Maybe if I rested in the morning, I'd be fine for soccer. So I sent an email and let everybody know, hey, I'm not feeling well. I'll be there. I could really use some extra help because I can't really yell, and I'm not 100%. So of the 20 kids on the soccer team, only 7 show up, and none of the parents emailed me after I emailed to say I wasn't feeling well to say they weren't coming. So I gave it my all for 7 kids, and it's like if none of you were gonna come, like I would have canceled practice because I was feeling so badly, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah, you don't even have to reply all. You don't have to start the chain reaction, but because I mean, there can be rational reasons, right? Like maybe they've got a particularly hectic Sunday, and it'd be like, man, it'd really be easier if soccer practice wasn't happening, and the coach is not feeling well. So coin flip that this may not happen, or I don't want my kid to get sick, or whatever.
Yeah.
And those are all reasons. Don't hit reply all. Just reply to the coach and say, hey, we're going to skip this week. And then all of a sudden you get 10 of those emails by 1 o'clock, and you send out another email and be like, I mean, whatever your threshold is, and be like, hey guys, I'm not feeling it. And you can put the onus on you. You don't even have to put it on the quitters.
Exactly. But
didn't get
any emails. So we do practice. And so then, I wake up on Monday, feel terrible, take a sick day. Wake up on Tuesday, pretty terrible, take a sick day. Throughout the day, get an email, really important double meeting on Wednesday. I go to work, I slum it. I was telling you a little bit offline, but my mask stamina is not what it used to be. I knew it wasn't COVID because I tested it at home. So I was like, okay, I can go into the office. I'm going to wear a mask. Really rough for me since my only real symptom was inability to breathe and having to pee a lot. And then had to go back on Thursday for another can't miss meeting. And that also didn't go. So I ended up leaving after that meeting, ended up taking Friday off. So for the first time in a while, I had 3.5 sick days on the books, which also meant that I went a whole week without exercising, which was really upsetting to me because I really just couldn't do it. And that was not the plan, especially after the body composition test I took the previous Friday. However, by being homesick on Friday, it meant that I got to go to both my 3-year-old's Halloween parade, which was excellent, and my kindergartner's Halloween parade, which involved driving, parking, seeing 20 seconds, and then getting stuck while we had to wait for the rest of the elementary school to go through because they said don't walk in the middle of the parade. That wasn't worth it. Just to be totally honest there. And then, we went home, got ready for trick-or-treating, which we will get into. But, so that's ultimately why I couldn't be here last Thursday, because I was not feeling good and it was really not great. But this past Sunday was the season finale of soccer. Got to do the medals. Everybody had a great time. My younger daughter actually participated half the time, and when she does participate, she's actually pretty good when she tries. My older daughter actually blossomed this season in soccer. I don't know where that comes from, but she really, really likes it. And she's like averaging in the scrimmage like a hat trick a week, which is
nice,
pretty crazy. And it was kind of unfair to the other team. So at halftime, I switched her teams, and she then scored for that team. And I was like, my daughter's good. And she definitely doesn't get that from me because I am not foot-eye coordinated by any means. But that's pretty cool. And I told her, and I actually talked to her about, hey, you're kind of good at this, and I can't really teach that. So do you want to do not like a travel team, which she doesn't know what that means, but like, do you want to do something more competitive than your dad coaching soccer? And she actually said no. And I said, yeah. But like,
I hear you, and I respect your choices, but that's bullshit.
Yeah, and it's
I can see it in your brain right now.
Yeah.
Like,
well, because also 20 kids on this soccer team. This season sucked because also her age group went up to 90 minutes. That's a lot of time for me to entertain these kids, and I didn't really like it. The boys are extremely aggressive, and actually, at one point, there was a couple weeks ago, 18 of the 20 kids showed up. It was 16 boys and 10 girls, and there was an extra field open. So I split up the boys and girls to do 2 mini scrimmages, 5-on-5 girls, 3-on-3 boys. And one of the moms of the boys came up to me and said, the boys got a little rough. And I said, oh, okay. Well, there was another dad. One of those boys' dad was monitoring that field. She goes, so I think it would be better if we mix them in with the girls. And I'm just looking at her, thinking to myself, your solution to boys being too rough with each other is to introduce girls. 2 things happen. 1, they're too rough on the girls. 2, you are perpetuating the patriarchy that says that you must insert women to calm down and regulate a situation, which I don't think is the.
Or I think you're relying on the boys, listen, I think boys will be boys is a little baloney, but at the same time,
Sure.
I also think that maybe it's not, thinking about how we're going to change the world and change everything. It's just keeping them from hurting each other and maybe splitting them up where they can't do that might be beneficial.
Sure. So this final scrimmage where we did have 18 people, I did split it up 9-on-9. 7 of them were boys. And the same mom complained that there wasn't an even number of boys on both teams. I said to her, there's 7. I can't cut one of them in half. That was the last thing she said to me all day. But it's listen, you're the boy mom. I'm the girl dad. Why are you making this hard on me? I'm the coach.
Some quick math here tells me that there are also an uneven number of girls, and so have the same problem going the other way.
Yeah. No, it was that was something. So again, that all leads to the fact that I want my daughter to do something slightly more competitive. I told her I am good for one more season, a fall and a spring at this age group. But I think I'm gonna have to hang up my cleats and maybe I'll coach my younger daughter for her 4 and 5 year. And that way I could say I did both.
And I think that's, I don't want to say the right move, but I think it can be a good move of, not feeling like you have to be the one that's always coaching her and knowing your own limits. And maybe she does blossom. And I think, you can ask her if she wants something more competitive. And I think there's a ton of ways that a 5-year-old can, almost 6-year-old can take that of saying, you're trying to separate, like she maybe just likes being with her friends, right? She has friends
Right.
on the team. She likes
Mhm.
dad coaching her. She likes all these other things. And it's sort of like, hey, why don't we figure out, like, I think you're pretty good at this, and I think you could challenge yourself and get better. And if you don't like it, we don't like this
Mhm.
isn't like you have to do it this way for the rest of your life. You don't have to commit to soccer for the rest of your life. But I would, it's sort of like try it for a season. Some of your friends may do this. You might make new friends. And if you miss like hanging out with dad, what we can do is we can kick the ball around in the yard or something like that, go to a park, whatever, and, practice some of the things you learn. Because at the
Yeah,
end of the day, even if you're not the most gifted foot-eye coordination, like you're still
I can
bigger, stronger,
watch.
faster than her.
Right. Yeah.
Like, and it can
Yeah.
still be. It's one of those things where like I've never been a basketball superstar, and I would say the average dad is probably not, but it's a milestone for a
Mhm.
kid to beat their dad in one-on-one.
Yep.
And the same
Exactly.
thing if she nutmegs your ass, like
Mhm. Yeah.
it's just like
She gets
that's a
gets me on
milestone.
the finish. I will say before practice started, she and I were playing essentially like one on one, and I was saying like, "Get by me, work on ball control." And
Yeah.
I kept stealing the ball because she kept kicking it really hard, and it's no longer in her possession, and I'd kick it away. Then as kids started showing up, I ended up playing 1-on-9, and I was victorious. So considering how bad I am at soccer, I am pretty proud that I could beat 5 and 6 year olds. Because if you add that up, that's a 45-year-old, and I'm 37. So, hashtag math. But yeah, no, I don't. I'm not trying to find her like the next first grade like club team, but I believe in the soccer world, their version of Little League's called like AYSO, American Youth
Okay.
Soccer Organization. Like, I'd like to get her in like Little League, which is more competitive than the practices only league, which we're currently in.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah, I've been trying to get my daughter into sports and like float the idea, but we talked about this with extracurricular stuff. Like I just can't
mhm.
I can't get her get her to give up something to do
Mhm.
sports where it's just
Right.
like, hey, you know how you like hate going to dance?
Yeah. Right.
Like, and she's like, no, I'm gonna get the best parts in the Nutcracker in a decade. And I'm like, okay, fine.
Fine. Yeah.
But yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, I am excited. I think I mentioned this on that episode, but if not, my son is eligible for T-ball in the spring with the local
There
little
you go.
league. So gonna sign him up for that. And this isn't me wanting to like live vicariously through my kids or anything. With my daughter, it's more that like we will be goofing off doing something sports related, and like I'll watch her dribble a basketball and I'll be like, that's pretty good. Like for a 6-year-old at the time, now 7-year-old, I'm like, that's pretty good. Like maybe I'm mistaken, and maybe I'm just comparing you to your 3.5-year-old brother, but like feels like you're pretty decent for a kid who doesn't practice this. I don't know.
Mhm.
Maybe
Yeah.
that's me seeing what I want to see. But
Could be.
should we talk Halloween?
Yeah. Yeah. So, so this was the first year that my daughters, that we were able to negotiate with my older daughter that she and her sister didn't need a school parade costume and a trick-or-treating costume, which, girls can't wear the same outfit twice in a row, right? So had to have two
Sure.
costumes. So this year we put the kibosh on that. My younger daughter was Mickey Mouse, not Minnie Mouse, because there's a distinct difference. She was Mickey Mouse with, and this is her distinct difference. So she wore black leggings, a black long sleeve shirt. My wife bought some just red shorts, sewed on the white spots. Same thing with the white spots on the black shirt. Had some ears. She was Mickey Mouse. My older daughter told my wife she wanted to be a puppy fairy. So my wife made a puppy costume, and we were given by one of the girls on the soccer team who also goes to kindergarten and went to preschool with her, we were given a fairy costume because
Okay.
they bought two because they didn't know which one she'd like, and when they found that the Amazon return was a little complicated, so they said, "Does Jane want this?" And Jane looked at it and she's like, "That's exactly what I want." So it made the costume easier. So there we did. We just took it. It's like, I don't charge to be the coach, but if the cost is a fairy costume, I'll take it. So, yeah.
Well, for us, I mean, one of our biggest things. So my daughter did her school had, instead of Halloween character day, they had dress as your favorite book character on Halloween, right? Which was, just sort of backdoor into like, apparently a ton of kids' favorite book character is Batman. And I'm like, a comic book's a book, homie. Like, like, but they were like, no masks, no props was what was on the flyer. I was like, I don't know how much this gets adhered to, or if they're just trying to like keep too many people from doing it. And so she, despite me giving her lots of suggestions, was adamant that she didn't have a favorite book character that was a pirate, which was her Halloween costume. And I was like, okay, like, I don't think anybody's going to be like, give me, oh, you're a real fan? Like, name the top 10 lines from this character in a book. Like, nobody's going to do that. You could just say you're them. It's not that big a deal, right? You could be Long John Silver, you could be Blackbeard, you could be, pretty much any pirate from any book, right? There's enough of them. But she was so she was Mary Ingalls from Little House on the Prairie, not Laura Ingalls Wilder, but Mary, the sister, because again, being very particular, she had her hair in braided pigtails, and she was like, this is like this character's style or whatever. She talked it over with my wife because this is not a book that she has read. I'm like, so you were hung up on the pirate thing because you didn't have a favorite, but you're just picking a random character that goes with this sort of like farmhousey dress that you got, and you're making this work. Whatever, I don't care. You're just wearing a dress. It's not like you have to be in some whole costume, and then the pigtails work just fine with a pirate. So like, we didn't have to redo any hair or anything like that. My son was Spider-Man.
Sure.
And so were about 50% of the 3 to 5 year olds in about a 5-mile radius based on informal surveying that I did. Spider-Man still very, very popular amongst the little ones. But one of my biggest wins was, and this is hard to recreate, so I'm not going to be like, hey guys, here's a tip. Happen to walk into Costco in August and have your kids fall in love with 2 costumes right at the end of August and go, I want these, and then get your Halloween shopping done months in advance. Like, sure, I think you could glean that you should do that. But for us, it's usually been like, they want a hem and haw, or they want something specific or whatever. They walked in, my daughter saw the pirate. She's like, I want this. I was like, you're willing to commit to that like 2 months in advance? She's like, yep. My son saw Spider-Man. I was like, well, yeah, you're probably going to commit to that 2 months in advance.
Yeah.
Okay, fine enough. So that was kind of our first win. But honestly, the biggest thing was, the kids, just them getting older and doing it being trick-or-treating was honestly easier than it's been in the past, right? My son could walk a little faster. He could keep up with everybody. We normally do a thing. We go over to a friend's house. They have a neighborhood that's pretty densely populated, but also just pretty popular for Halloween. It's what we call a golf cart neighborhood around here. Most people own golf carts, and they use them, even though they have to be street legal to drive on the street, and you have to get like a license plate for them and stuff. People do use them to drink adult beverages while their kids are going trick-or-treating and like not walking. And I want to say no shade, but like, it's total shade. Like, your torsos look like you spend a lot of time riding in a golf cart when you could be walking.
Yeah.
Get
Also,
yourself
of all the nights to not be drunken golf carting, Halloween is not the night to do it with kids walking on the street.
Yeah, I mean, nobody's going fast, right? I mean, like literally, most people are walking fast in these golf carts. Like they know what they're doing, but they want to have a Bluetooth speaker. It's usually and some people get creative with it, right? Like there was a family dressed up as Scooby-Doo and the gang, and they had decked out their golf cart as the Mystery Machine, right? I'm like, okay, weave it into the costume. Love that. You know, there's other people that are just, wearing an orange, this is my Halloween costume shirt and just driving a normal golf cart. And I'm like, you are a loser. I don't care if you are an adult and dress up for Halloween. I am not here to judge whether or not you dress up. Some people do, some people don't, and it's totally fine either way. But I find those, like, I'm at an age where I find those, like, cheeky shirts just sort of like, either get in the spirit or just don't, and nobody's going to judge you either way. But just being like, this is my Halloween costume, it's like you could have just worn nothing.
It's the Halloween version of my no third party hats at sporting events view.
Yeah, except the one thing I will say, like, I make an exception to your rule for outdoor sporting events because, like, sun in your eyes, sun on your face, like.
Right, but sure. Okay. I see. I understand what you're saying.
I feel like as a ginger, you should support me in sun protection.
I do.
First and foremost, as a rule, without having, and as someone who's very frugal, also support me in not paying for an extra hat when I already have a perfectly good hat that could accomplish said sun protection.
Sure, but I also have a hat that's like, I also have hats that are not team associated. They're just generic hats.
Sure, that's fair.
Yeah,
I mean, like you can like I've got hats that I've got a hat.
Yeah,
maybe a couple.
Well,
like they're golf hats, right?
Yeah. Right. So for those of you who don't know my take, I believe that if you're going to a sporting event between two teams and you need to make a point to wear a hat of a third team that's not playing, sometimes not even the same sport, that nobody gives a crap that you don't like either of these teams. In fact, I think you're kind of weird that you're at this game and you don't like either of these teams to the point where you have to show that off. Like, I live in the DC area.
I think there's a line here, though. I think there's a line. You're derailing the whole Halloween conversation, but I'm here for it. Like, there are two types of people. There are the types of people like myself who might just grab a hat because, again, I want to wear a hat, not because I need to show off. Like, let's say I'm going to a Marlins game and they're playing the Mets. Am I going to wear a Braves hat? Probably not. Braves are my team. Am I going to wear a division rival hat to that game? Probably not, unless I was going with a certain, set of our friends and it's more of an inside joke thing, maybe. But I might wear like a Hurricanes hat, like something that I feel is kind of neutral. I'm also low-key supporting the city of Miami. Now, there are some nuances in there, but there was a time where I lived in New York and my in-laws were in town. And my in-laws and my brother-in-law, two of my brother-in-laws, one, it was the older one, it was his bachelor party. The younger one, he was there, but the Major League Baseball game was the bachelor party kind of thing. And the younger one, as you know, is a Florida State grad. And he was decked out in Florida State gear. And again, obviously, this kind of violates like what I just said about the Miami Hurricanes hat, but I would not be wearing it to like brag or boast. But he was doing this, I want to say, in like 2014. So they had just won the national title the year before. And he made a pretty big deal about how mad he thought everyone else was around. I'm like, we are in Yankee freaking Stadium, my man. Like, they laugh at everybody else's number of championships. That is how it works around here. This is Championship USA. Like
Right.
nobody like, and at the time I had just finished working in college sports in New York City. And I'm like, I have to tell you,
Nobody
people
cares.
do not care
Yeah.
about college football of all things. Right? I worked at a basketball school, but people do not care about college football in this city, and especially not at a Yankees game. And so I think there are those two types. There are the people who are trying to get a rise out of people, and yeah, I agree. But I think if you're looking at a random guy in the stands and you're sort of like, it's hard to know unless you hear what comes out of their mouth, or you're like, you have some interaction with them where it's just like, okay, that to me, it's a weird blurry line, but that to me is the line of like, are you doing it to be a troll, or are you doing it because like it's practical and you want to get in the sporting spirit but don't want to pay for gear for a game between two teams that you don't care about?
So about 10 years ago, I invested $5 in a Nationals hat because I knew I was going to go to Nationals games for fun because it's a cheap outdoor fun time out, and they weren't always going to be playing the Dodgers, and I didn't want to cheer for anybody else. And the Dodgers and the Nats have nothing against each other. I also went back to that year, the 2 years we lived together, where I was living with a Mets fan, a Marlins fan, a Braves fan, and a Yankees fan. And I was like, you know what? Let me play a role here. Wasn't going to be a Phillies fan, which I wasn't. So I was a fake Nats fan. So it worked.
Sure.
So you know, I have a Nats hat for when I attend Nats games when they aren't playing the Dodgers, because I too am a ginger with thinning hair. Like I need to protect myself. So, you know, it was a good investment.
Yeah, I can get behind that.
Yeah. But yeah, Halloween.
Yes.
Yeah.
So for us, it was really, you know, back to the golf cart situation. It's totally fine, but really enjoy that neighborhood because a lot of people, you know, they'll, instead of, you know, having the kids come up to the door or whatever, a lot of people take folding tables and put them out at the end of their driveway. They might have Jello shots for some of the parents, you know, like extra goodies, those kinds of things.
Yeah.
And because like everybody in the neighborhood really gets into it, you can get a full bucket just doing a lap around the block. Right. And so it's just like, you don't have to be out for super long. You don't have to be dragging the kids everywhere. But we took the kids out trick-or-treating, got them there. And my mother-in-law always does like a fall festival at her church. We've done that a couple of times as like our trick-or-treating, but the house we go to, the friends we go to, like they've got a couple of kids, great friends with our kids. And like our kids are at the age where they're just like, we want to hang out with our friends. And I'm like, I get that. You don't want to go to your grandma's church festival versus going and hanging out with your friends. I'm not dragging you any which way. Like there are friends too. So I'm happy to, you know, go over there and get a Jello shot or two, which isn't happening at the fall festival. Let's be real. Right. So, you know, but my mother-in-law gets done with this, with her fall festival, and we're like, well, let's head over to grandma's neighborhood, right? Let's head over and let's see what's going on, you know, because grandmas love to show off their kids. Kids are looking pretty cute. And so we made the decision to keep our kids out well past bedtime. And everything went pretty well over the course of the night. We're like, we tell our kids anytime we stay out late, like this is a test for if we're going to stay out later. And I don't know if that's ever really true, or we just tell them that. We just like want to like give them a reason to behave, for lack of a better word, and you know, just be like, we're not going to do this again. It's like, we'll probably do this again at some point because we'll want to stay out late and not drag the kids back by 7:35 to be on their normal routine. But we told them that we were setting their wake up light an hour later because we were getting home close to like 9 o'clock. So they were already an hour behind. We're like, we're setting your wake up clock an hour later. They have overflowing buckets of candy. And we say, if we hear you or see you before that light is green For every minute early you are, you're losing a piece of candy.
Yep.
My children each lost 38 pieces of candy.
Wow.
Didn't make that big of a dent, but and we have been spending the week since giving them opportunities when they go above and beyond to earn back some of the candy. But what they have slowly started to realize over the course of this week is there's only so much candy to earn back, because what has happened is those buckets that were taken away from them have turned into mom and dad's snacking candy during the day.
Of course.
And so
Yes.
the numbers are dwindling. So you have to go above and beyond often and quickly to get it back with any rapidity.
So so our little neighborhood, we have some friends in our townhouse community. People have come and gone, but we decided we were going to meet up with my younger daughter's classmate. While we were there, we bumped into some of my older daughter's friends. And so we had this big cluster, probably of 8 adults, like 6 kids, all going together. And my older daughter and the other 2 older girls were the advanced team. They were sprinting from house to house, determining how things were going, which, I taught her really well. She's good. Problem was she got a little too excited. And there was a point where I had to yell, stop, because she was about to run across the street with a car coming to tell people about the candy. And unfortunately, I don't know what was up this year, because we always kind of go the same route, because there's a set of houses where it's all the king size candy, like the rich people in the neighborhood who, all the ones who bought their houses in the 90s and now they're worth 20 times what they paid for, those people with the king size bars. And unfortunately, I guess not as many people were into it as they were last year. So the street wasn't as well lit as it usually is. So, we were trying to explain to her, slow down, right? My younger daughter, as I mentioned a couple of weeks ago on the show, went through constipation, which has led to her looking up types of regressions one can have in the dictionary and being I'm going to start that one. And, she's still refusing to poop because she thinks the toilet was the problem, not the fact that her poop was just hard. So at some point she had to poop about an hour in. So I took her back home. My older daughter stayed out with her mom. She legit came back with a bag of 5 pounds of candy. I lifted it up and thought, holy guacamole, that is a lot of candy. So I was really proud of her. But we had them split duty. That way I also got to watch Game 6 of the World Series. Because I put the other one to bed. So overall, I think it went pretty well in terms of costumes were good. Trick-or-treating only had one hiccup. The older one and her mom got to stay out. The younger one got to go to bed on time. Everybody got to have a little bit of candy. There's still a lot of candy. The king size house. Oh, we went through one of the houses where, there was adult trick-or-treats too. So we have a airplane bottle of apple fireball or something. Okay. I don't know if that's any good, but it was still a kind gesture. So it was a good time. I think last year, even though Halloween was a Thursday, for some reason, like I said, more people decked out the houses, so it just seemed better lit. But otherwise, overall, it was a pretty good time, and the group of parents was fun. Everybody had a nice time. I'm always walking with the wagon, because I know that in case the kids get tired, or in the case of they got a big bag of candy, sometimes they just want to put it down so daddy can walk the wagon. But that was essentially my exercise for the week, since I had just spent a week being sick. But it was I actually haven't had as much candy as I normally do post Halloween. Maybe I'm intuitively eating better, and maybe it's the lack of Starburst and Reese's that were brought home. Probably it, to be honest.
Got a lot of Reese's in our house. A lot of Reese's.
Love Reese's so much.
I wanted to shout out, all the parents at my son's daycare
Mm-hmm.
for being a bunch of tryhards.
There you go.
Honestly, I knew this would be the case. Like we do the parade, and it's not so much a parade as just chaos as you're gonna get with a preschool.
Mm-hmm.
But they tell us we have 52 kids in the preschool. So like you can bring something to hand out.
Mm-hmm.
And the requirements are it has to be nut free. Okay, fine.
Sure.
They also happily suggest things like bubbles or slap bracelets or whatever. But because we procrastinated, I was buying stuff at 7:45 a.m. on Halloween morning. Because I just forgot to I was like, yeah, bubbles or something like that sounds like a great idea, and then just like didn't get my act together. So I'm in Walgreens with my son at like 7:45, and that's when I figured out homie's getting pretty good with the numbers because we're looking at the candy aisles and looking at all this stuff, and he picks up a package. He goes, Dad, I want this one. And I go, why? He goes, because it has 100. And I go, son of a gun, you know your numbers. That is 100 right there on the bag. And it was like a
bag of 100
Nerds
grand
gummy clusters. No, it was 100 pack of Nerds gummy clusters, which I'm like, this fits the bill, right? Everything else like had like some Reese's or some Snickers or something mixed in that I'm like, I can't do this. So I was like gonna be going with I think like Kit Kat and Hershey's, and he sees this and I'm like, okay, this is the one you want to take? We'll take it. It's totally fine. So we grabbed that, and there's no way I passed out more than like 30 things. But the last couple of kids were getting like just a handful of things from me. But there were parents, because we pulled these out of, I wasn't watching all the parents, but we pulled out of my son's bag, like these specially curated, like pumpkin shaped marshmallows with like graham crackers in there and like hand drawn, like wrapped in cellophane with like a little ribbon. I'm like, how many of these did you buy, have made? Did you make them yourself? I can't really tell, but like, what the heck? There was like a lady there that like had like an entire cornucopia of fruit. And I'm like, nobody likes you on Halloween. Like, don't be the fruit person. Like, I can give my kid fruit, and I'm probably not going to give them all. Like, I feel like those parents are like, well, that much candy is bad for them. I'm like, yeah, if they inhale it all that night, like they get like a piece or two, and then they divvied up. Like, I still pull candy out of the cabinets from like 3 Halloweens ago because like my kids don't get that much of it at one sitting.
But Alex, all of this sugar and fruit makes it nature's candy.
Yeah, but I also hear from these people that the sugar and fruit's bad because it's got sugar, and it's like sugar's not the problem. You're the problem.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, no,
I like these people like doing the most, and I'm just like,
yeah,
nerds.
Yeah, we bought like the Costco size bag of fun size. It's Snickers, Milky Way, Three Musketeer. So we're gonna have that for the next like 10 years.
Sure.
That bucket. Yeah.
Yeah.
Overall, good Halloween. All Hallows Eve was solid. Day of the Dead. The following day was fine. The Dodgers won the World Series on the Day of the Dead, so I'll take it. Yeah.
Sure.
So yeah, go Dodgers. Go Doyers.
Should we work on the dad bod?
Yeah. Do you want to go before I get into my body comp, or do you just want?
Yeah, I mean, it's been a weird couple of weeks for me. I mean, not like bad. Like I've been doing all right with the running, and progressing a little bit. I changed up what I was doing. I was doing a little bit of like a run walk, but I was kind of doing it the old like couch to 5K method, where it's like, okay, we're gonna run for 4 minutes, walk for 2, run for 4, walk for 2, repeat that like a total of 5 times, get up to 30 minutes kind of thing. And like anytime I would try to go up on the like time or decrease the walking, like I was just noticing that like my heart rate was getting really high. And everything I've read from quality running coaches and trainers and experts and whatever is that like to increase your running distance, the best thing to do is be in zone 2 cardio, which is not 160 plus beats a minute where I was. It's conversational pace, being able to breathe through your nose, right? Like going slow and steady to work up, that if you do most of your workouts there and then you work in some speed workouts, you will get faster, but you will learn the aerobic capacity much better at sort of those lower intensities. And I was like, man, I can't go much slower on the treadmill here. Like, just I can't physically run and have this thing going slower. So I switched it up to do what my wife had been doing because she's been having a lot of success with her running, and her run walk splits were much shorter than mine. And so she was running faster and then walking. So, instead of like a light jog, it might be a pretty fast run for like 30, 45 seconds and then walking for 30, 45 seconds kind of thing. So I've been doing that. And that has actually been much better of like keeping my heart rate sort of in that zone, but feeling like I'm working out and all that stuff. So that's been going well. But on the flip side of it, like I haven't, ever since I transitioned to like running as my primary focus and cardio as my primary focus, I have not been trying to abandon weightlifting. I've been kind of wanting to stay away from leg day to, until I built up a little bit more endurance so that like I'm not just sitting there like in pain from a leg day. But my shoulder has been giving me so many issues, and I've been spending my dedicated weightlifting days like doing rehab, and I just cannot get this shoulder to cooperate where like, doing any sort of pressing movement, even some pulling movements, it's messing with me. So that's been kind of frustrating to deal with that. And I mean, my wife and I are considering switching mattresses, switching the 2 mattresses we have, because she was like, I think my mattress is too firm, and I think and I'm like, oh, I think my mattress is too soft. And she's getting back pain from hers. I'm getting neck and shoulder pain. And I'm like, all right, yeah, maybe we switch it, and then we may end up having to get new mattresses at some point, because I'm like, I don't know if that's the whole cause, but whew.
You have 2 twin beds that you put next to each other on the size of a king bed. That's what you guys do?
Yeah, we have 2 twin XL beds. They are the same brand, make, model, right? They're purple mattresses. But
I forgot you were doing that.
She sits on mine.
Yeah.
So just like switching which one's on which side, right? And because she says she sits on mine and it's a lot softer and hers feels a lot firmer. And maybe that's just because like I've been putting more pressure on mine through more body mass than she has over the last 4 years or so. So I'm like, yeah, maybe we switch it. Maybe we figure it out. Playing with my pillow, trying to maybe add a little more stuffing there, because I mentioned a while back that I had like invested in a new pillow and all that. And I think hopefully figure something out, because it is a little frustrating, where I'm trying to rehab the shoulder, and I'll get on like the chest press machine to just completely control the trajectory and stuff. And like, I'm trying to do like 25, 40 pounds, just like to avoid the pain, but like I'm not working for like muscle fatigue or hypertrophy at that point, right? I mean, I'm way too low. I'm literally trying to just like feel the range of motion, to feel the right muscles firing and not the wrong ones, right? And I'm like, yeah, I don't know. It's frustrating.
That's
anyway. Hopefully you're having less frustration. Well, you're sick.
Yeah. So, when we last recorded, it was October 23rd. That was a Thursday. And I told you all I was doing my body composition on October 24th, which was 7 weeks from my last one. I'd been doing this every 7 weeks since April 4th, where I started at a skeletal muscle mass of 83.6 pounds and a body fat percentage of 25.1. And again, we've got 7, 14, 21, 28, 35 weeks. I've been doing this. And My skeletal muscle mass in that 35 weeks, as I mentioned, was 83.6 pounds, is now 86.9 pounds. So gained 3.3 pounds of skeletal muscle mass, whatever that actually means. And then my body fat percentage went from 25.1, and I'm now at 15.7. So I'm down almost 10% body fat. And that has been consistent. Like those numbers have been 25.1, 21.0, 19.1, 17.6, and 15.7. So I am getting the results that I've been working toward.
Nice.
I was feeling amazing, on the 24th. Killed it on my workout after that body comp test. And then I got sick and I didn't work out for a whole week. And that sucked. And then I mentioned to you offline, there's a lot going on this week, a lot of meetings. My schedule has gotten away from me. I did work out on Monday, and it was my first workout after being sick. I did my full 5 miles in my normal time, and I'd give myself a B plus lifting as opposed to a normal A. But I'll take that overall as the first workout after like a week of feeling like crap. And then on Tuesday, I was able to work out, and I only did 4 miles because I got a bit of a stomach ache. Because of my schedule, I worked out after lunch, and I normally work out before I eat. So, it wasn't the best workout. And then yesterday, all these meetings kind of got in the way. So it gets to be about 3:30. I normally leave at 5. Haven't worked out yet. But there is what they call labeled a walking office about 10 feet from my office. And what is a walking office? It's normally locked. There is a under the desk treadmill and like a giant monitor for you to walk and work. Nobody was in there. I walked in there, put it up to 2 miles per hour, and I did 1 hour doing basic mindless work that I had to get done anyway. It's like crap on my to-do list while walking for 2 miles for an hour. So in my mind, even though the week before when I had to be in the office on 2 days that I was sick, I did not work out. So my streak of every day I go to work, I work out came to an end. I was very sick, so I gave myself a pass.
Sure.
But yesterday and today, because of how my schedule got away from me, I went back to the walking office today. Again, it was after 4, so I only did 30 minutes. So, but I'm going to say in good conscience that I still worked out while going to work, because even walking,
all movement's good movement here, you
yeah,
know.
I mean,
unless you're doing something specifically dangerous,
right?
Like, and I think my personal concern for you is always overworking, right?
Sure.
Where you're like, I'm going to do all the things, and I am going to
right.
get no matter how many people, scientists, whatever say it, you kind of sometimes feel like you have the mentality of like, I am going to get my caloric deficit in this time frame in the gym, and it's like you're not, but you know,
yeah, exactly. But for this, it was just kind of like I did like my armpits were sweaty even through my undershirt yesterday because I did the full hour, and like again, I was getting work done, but this was kind of like, okay, I did it in good conscience. Today was only a half hour. It was still a mile, but like it was, I did it. Like I didn't have time otherwise. And tomorrow I should be able to go to the gym at my normal time while at the office. So, but I'm going to say I've still maintained my goal, but it's nice to know that in a pinch, they've stopped locking the walking office. And I seem to be the only one who wants to use it. So I'm not reserving it, just taking it. It's been cool. And you know, getting work done while working out. So that's cool. Yeah, as far as working on the dad bod, you know, we had talked about in terms of, you know, I'm still trying to get to 170. I am not there yet. My birthday, we talked about how I got all the way down to 175.8. Then a week later, after birthday eating, got to 178.6. The next week before, my body composition got to 180.2, which was confusing because my body composition was so much better. But then I was like, you know what? That could be the fact that my body fat percentage went down and maybe my muscle mass went up based on what this thing said. So maybe that number's good. But I am back. And then last week, being sick and not working out, went back to 178.4. And today I was 177.4. So I'm going back down in the direction that I want to be. I still want to get to 170. Hopefully I can do that. I don't think before Thanksgiving is going to happen, but maybe by 2026. If I could start 2026 at the weight I want, I can look really nice when I see you guys on January 9th for our boys trip at the beach. Still trying to figure it out, but and with regard to the progress I've been making, I'm happy, and hopefully, I'm still coughing up some phlegm. So hopefully next week I am back to fully healthy again and I can get back into it, but who knows? Last time I had a cold that lasted this long, it was the residual of when my daughter and then your daughter got RSV, and I had like some of it in the system, just like in here for about 6 weeks, which was tough. But so
I got a complete aside about the dad bod that like, it's going to be a little out of left field. If I say the name Chris Bumstead to you, do you know who that is?
No.
Okay. Well, Chris Bumstead is 6-time Mr. Olympia. Okay. In the classic physique division, which for those of you that don't know, Mr. Olympia, it's what made Arnold Schwarzenegger famous, world famous, like bodybuilding competition.
Mm-hmm.
I found out this past weekend that Chris Bumstead, who is of Canadian descent, resides in my county. And I found this out because he happened to walk in and sit down next to me at a restaurant. And like, I have been working very hard on my body confidence. This man is retired, but you wouldn't know it by looking at him. Like, he was wearing a loose-fitting t-shirt and his traps were sticking out in a way that like no human traps look like they should. And I also fully understand that there is no way on God's green earth that this man is not taking performance enhancing drugs, right? Like I'm not casting aspersions. Like most people in his sport do that, but like, if you ever want to feel like you're making progress and then get kicked back about 100 miles, be next to a 6-time Mr. Olympia who retired last year and didn't take days off, just isn't cutting to like 2% body fat for competition. I'm like, okay, like I did a double take because I was like, that is an insanely jacked dude. And I like looked at his face. I was like, holy shit, I know exactly who that is. And I like Googled it really quickly. And then I Googled his wife and I was like, yeah, that's the lady sitting next to him. And I'm like, okay. I carried on with my day. I didn't like bother him, but I was like, holy shit, okay. And then I like Googled. I was like, oh shit, he lives here. What the? Okay.
There you go. Oh. Now you know. Anyway. That is a fun little aside.
Yeah. Anyway, he has a kid, so he's crushing the dad bod.
There you go. Yeah. You should have him on.
Yeah. Next time I'll see him, I'll be like, hey man, you don't know me.
Yeah, now that you two sit next to each other.
You want to be on a podcast? You've got 4 million YouTube followers. You want to do a collab? I found that out on Wikipedia while you were talking about your body measurements.
Yeah, let's do that. Let's give him some of our millions of followers. Yeah, we don't need his. Yeah.
Exactly.
So, yeah. All
right, guys.
Thanks for working on the dad pod with us.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you for joining us for this kind of all over the place Halloween episode. A little spooky, a little scary, a little trick, a little treat. Didn't mention at the top of the show, but please like and subscribe, share with a friend, find all of our socials, all the good stuff. Working on the dadpod.com, working on the dadpod.com. There we go. go there, subscribe, find all of our videos. We always post on YouTube first. So check out YouTube. That way you can see our pretty faces. Ethan doesn't look sick. I promise we're doing great. We will see you guys next week. Thanks, everybody.
Later.